Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Daily Sib. It's Wednesday. Some call it Hump Day. I've said I'm feeling pretty energized for a Wednesday today, and I'm really looking forward to this chat around. I say inclusive fashion. I think we're going to go on all sorts of tangents and touch on all sorts of topics. But most of all, I'm joined by Gemma today. So thank you for joining me, Gemma.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And so, yeah, so there's going to be quite a few bits we'll touch base on, I think. But can you just give the viewers a bit of an introduction to who you are and what you get up to?
So my name is Gemma Adby, and I am currently on Instagram as a model, and I'm also an ambassador for Models of Diversity. I started my Instagram probably start this year, just as like a portfolio for like my casting director, which is a Zebedee modeling agency, just obviously have people to have a look, and for myself to upload pictures. Just for, create awareness, get my arm out there, because I've always hidden it. And this year I've just decided to just get it out, basically, stop hiding it. And it's not like I'm not proud of who I am. It's just with society, and this is what we'll obviously talk about in stuff with fashion, it's difficult just to, just to get it out and with people asking questions. So this year I started my Instagram and obviously applied to be a model, and just going from there, the last few months has been absolutely hectic. Obviously I'll be an ambassador for Models of Diversity, which is an insane charity, which I'll talk about more as well. But at the moment it's just flowing. Hopefully more will come of it, but at the moment it's just blown up in my face, which has been great. I just can't wait for the journey that it's going to take me on.
That's exciting. So, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So I think obviously it sounds there's a lot centered around modeling, and you sort of said you went on Instagram because you were doing some work, and you've got Zebedee, who's your talent management. Yeah. Did you see I had the founders on the show a couple of weeks ago? I don't know if you saw that or not,
yeah,
but yeah. So obviously for people that want to know more about sort of Zebedee and its own story, they can watch that episode from a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I suppose I'd like start off at the beginning. So what got you into doing? Why did you want to do modeling? What was the sort of reasons you had? But also, how did you find Zebedee to represent you as well?
So I was having a look around first, and I came across Zebedee, saw what they did, had a look at their Instagram, their social media, and was just amazed. So I applied for it, spoke to them, and obviously went through with the whole COVID thing. It's been obviously crazy, so not much has obviously come from it. But I started the Instagram just to start to take pictures. My best friend happens to be a photographer, which is really handy. So she was like, "Get yourself out there. We'll take pictures, obviously help her portfolio as well, and just start creating awareness." I've never really wanted to be a model. Obviously, people always say, you should get yourself out there and stuff. And when I was younger, obviously, I watched Miss and Top Model with Kelly Knox on it. And I think I was 12 years old at the time. And it was just insane. And there's not many people like me at that time out there. That was just literally her. And she's literally been my inspiration since I was 12. And looking at her, and she won it as well. And, ever since then, I've just not tried to follow in her footsteps, but a part of me in the back of my head has always been like, you should do this, look what she's achieved, there's people out there that are fighting for this, so she's one of them, and that we should all get involved and come together. So I start my Instagram basically just to take pictures and just have a look. So it's almost like a portfolio, and from there it's just I'm doing it almost for myself now, where me and my friend will go out and I'll write posts about things that I didn't even realize that affected me. And people ask me so many questions, like even how I can ride a bike, how I can tie my shoelaces. And it's more just educating as well. I'm doing it just to educate society, to show that being disabled it's not a bad thing. It's not, I'm not weak. I'm not any different to you. I've just been born with one arm, and I know no different to anybody else. I've grown up with it. Like, people ask me all the time, how do I ride a bike? And it's just like, I honestly don't know. Like, I just learn, like, no way different to how anybody else would. You just get on it and you fall off. But I think it's just more or less trying to inspire other people as well. Like, so many mums who reached out to me that obviously had babies that they obviously didn't realize they had it, and then they were born and had one arm, reached out to me and just like, we need more people like you and like Kelly Knox in fashion media, just to show that it's okay to be different and to have almost a role model for their kids growing up. And at the moment, obviously, everyone's still fighting for it, but it's a lot better than obviously when I was growing up. But yeah, we're just fighting for it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a lot resonates with me. I mean, obviously, I've not gone down like a modeling route, but I do use social media, and it started because I was like working with younger kids with the same disability that I've got, and that really lit me up that I could show them a kind of future that maybe when I was their age didn't seem as possible. But also those like random questions you get from society is kind of, rather than feel awkward or not answer it or be annoyed, like actually face it head on and answer those questions, because there's actually no mystery. It's actually quite straightforward, right?
Usually when I was growing up, questions would bother me the most. That's always why I've always hid my arms. Just I didn't like the confrontation. People, I don't think they, because they're not educated enough, obviously, to be like, oh, you know, because disability is not everywhere. Not many people obviously know how to react to it. People just go straight up and like, what happened to your arm? And I'm just like, oh Christ, like I don't know. Like, so I've had people come up to me, literally come up to me crying, like shaking me, like, oh my God, last week you had 2 arms, this week you've got 1 arm. What's the matter? And I was like, surely if that happened, I would be in hospital.
Yeah.
And just random people I don't even know have just come up to me and just been like, what's happened? Like, but it's for me, like before that wouldn't affect me. It would annoy me, because I'd be like, you could just be really nice about it. You don't have to be horrible about it or anything. We don't have to stare. If your people are staring, I'll make it obvious and I'll just be like wave at them or whatever. But yeah, it used to really bother me when I was growing up, just 'cause I didn't like the confrontation, so I just used to hide it. But now it's just got to the point, and people ask me, I'm just like, are you staring at my arm? Because I can tell you what's wrong with me. But yeah, that's the thing that obviously would bother me the most. That's why I want to obviously like start educating, you know, how to, you know, just to go up to somebody and just ask, basically, because there's nothing worse when someone's just staring at me and I'm just like, oh crap, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. So do you feel like the kind of modeling and fashion is sort of like a vehicle to actually do those other things that you talk about? Like obviously it's something you do enjoy and you're good at, and I'm sure it's like, as a job, I'm sure it's pretty cool as well. But it sounds like it's a way that you can achieve those other things too.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm growing with it as well. Like I wouldn't usually put myself out there in that position where, you know,
That's
it's bad enough, you
interesting.
know, going out there showing off your disability, but going out there and showing off your disability and having a camera in front of you is something completely different. Like you have to go like above and beyond. So it's helping with my confidence so much as well. Like just to be able just to be confident and get it out, if that makes sense. In the last year, I would not even have got it out. And ever since I've started this Instagram, and for myself as well, someone's been like, I've been blind. Like I have a disability and I've been completely blind to the world, because I've completely shut myself off to it, because I've been, you know, I've been like, no, I don't have to get it out. I don't have to get involved in this stuff. But ever since I started Instagram, I met so many lovely people. There's so many people that, like, you know, they're fighting for this as well. It makes you feel like you're you know, you shouldn't feel like that anyway, but you're part of something that's really important. Everyone's fighting for this, and that I think people just think that, you know, disability is just one thing. It comes in so many different forms, and it's just incredible what, you know, from what I've seen. And I, as a disabled person, in the last, you know, 6 months, and I just feel like I've been completely blind from it for the last 24 years, and it's just completely opened my eyes meeting these people, and I just feel, you know, empowered. And as well with Models of Diversity and the other ambassadors that I speak to, you know, it's just incredible what we're all fighting for.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Because I was thinking like the industries I've been more involved in is probably like, well, media, like you, because I'm now running like an influencer marketing agency, but like I've done a lot in travel. So I've like been around the world to try out places that are accessible or not accessible, like that industry. But I was thinking with like fashion and modeling, it's, yeah, again, it's not just about disability, but it's that broader diversity. It's quite a hard one to crack, because obviously there is this thing around perfection, whatever perfection is, right? So like, how have you found the people in the industry to be around difference and disability?
I personally, because obviously I'm so new to it, I haven't really experienced that side of the things yet. I've only really been on the outside. But from being on the outside and what I've seen so far, like even just, you know, online brands, they're not photoshopping out stretch marks or anything anymore. It's just normal people, and this is what, you know, everyone needs to understand. I don't understand why Models of Diversity doesn't have you know, a bigger background. It's just we're fighting for normal people. And you're right, this whole perfection thing, like, what is perfection? Every single one of us is different. Like, who is perfect? If you're perfect, then you're not real. It's just, it's insane. So, you know, they're fighting for like diversity in fashion, media industries, ethnic origin, all ages, all sizes, people with disabilities, non-binary. It's huge. It's just normal people. That's what they're fighting for, and we should be seeing more of it. You know, growing up anyway is difficult enough as just a normal teenager, let alone being slightly different. And if you had more people in the fashion industry, you know, that you could look up to, or would be, you know, like yourself, you wouldn't feel as, you know, so, you know, discriminated or, you know, excluded from the world.
Yeah, it's about representation, isn't it? It's that actually the world is diverse. So whether it's fashion, media, TV, film, even like, you know, lawyers or accountants, like in all of life, you want that diversity of representation.
It's like, it's not like it's any different. We just want to be treated the same and not looked down on, not look like weak or anything. Like as myself, like I've, you know, worked hard for my actual like current job. Like I'm a designer and I worked hard for that. And you know, just this is obviously something I want to do alongside as well as a career. But you know, I worked hard to get where I was a designer. You know, it's a difficult industry as it is anyway, let alone having a disability, because it's so, you know, criticized anyway for your design work. You kind of take it more when you've got a disability, or, you know, because you're like, oh, you know, maybe it's me just as a person. But, you know, this is what I want to do as a career and just fight for it, because I've always believed that I've been given my disability for a reason. And that reason is to, you know, is to fight and just to the next generation to feel differently.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I was interested to get your thoughts on a couple of things around sort of to do with identity and the wording of disability, because I think like a lot of people sort of say the word is quite negative sounding, like disability.
Yeah.
It's not the most positive connotation, but also like identity. I mean, like I'd imagine for you that pretty much you've learned to adapt with one arm to do pretty much everything, right? Like I imagine there's an odd occasion there's something a bit trickier, but otherwise it's like, yeah, you can do everything. Like I'm in a chair all day, I need a team of people to help with like really sort of, you know, day-to-day tasks and that. But like I also feel in my mind I travel, I'm engaged to get married, like I'm very able, you know. And so I think it's like, yeah, just to get your thoughts, I suppose, on the kind of identity of disability and just from your experience and how other people react to it.
It's yeah, you're right. It's the dis bit at the beginning, because I've always seen that, you know, it's just ability. And for me, I've never known any different. And people can be like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do this? I don't know. I've adapted to doing it. Like how I should.
Yeah.
You just do it. You just learn to do it. It's no different to anybody else. It's just, yeah, you just adapt it to however you feel comfortable. But yeah, it's just from growing up and having people just, you know, from even looking at me at first, you would just be like, oh yeah, she's just a normal girl. And then as soon as I lift my arm up and my sleeve goes a bit like floppy, they're like, oh bless you. They're like, I really hope you know, it's like a pity thing, and I hate that. That's one thing I absolutely hate, is you don't have to pity me. Like you know, I'm more than capable. I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't allow myself to do I couldn't do. Probably clap, but that's not the point. Do you know what I mean? But that's nothing that I wouldn't even try, or I would adapt it. If I couldn't do it, you get knocked down, you try again. But yeah, that's one thing I hate. People pity you, and you know, and they're just like, oh bless you, like you do so well. And it's just like, what am I supposed to do? Like really?
Yeah, we talk about that a lot with the brands that we're working with. It's like we don't want pity, tokenism, sympathy. We just want to be treated like any other shopper, consumer, customer. Like, and yeah, there's access needs. Like there are certain things about, like, if I can get in a building in my wheelchair, but most of all, I think we talked about it yesterday on the show with Chris about customer service. It's like, just treat us like people, because that's basically, it's as simple as that, you know, it's simple as that.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember when I was the receptionist, and I was before, when I was obviously growing up, and people, they would try and help you, and they think that it's, you know, it's a lovely thing to do, and you try and help me as much as possible, but to the point where people were taking like the cash machine away from me because they thought I couldn't rip off the receipt or type it in. It's crazy. No, you've seen me do it so many times, but it's just that thought in their head that, you know, she's disabled, she needs help, that you know, sticks with you. That's what, you know, what we want to change.
And I was saying about this sort of identity and the word disability and what it means or doesn't mean. I watched on Netflix the documentary about Bethany Hamilton. Have you come across Bethany Hamilton?
No, I haven't.
So
No.
she had both arms but lost an arm in a shark attack, and she was about 12, and she was on the rise to become a world champion surfer. And the whole documentary is then about how once she had the accident with the shark attack, sort of relearning to surf, and but like became a real sort of, you know, big on social, big in the mainstream media. Similar messages, I think, to what you're carrying. I think you'd enjoy the documentary. But she got like awarded like some sort of disabled role model type category, and she refused it because she just didn't identify as disabled. But equally, she knew that for people with a disability, she was inspirational. So it was like just really interesting, this kind of dynamic like between the word and just showing people what's possible, basically.
Yeah, it's like a fine line, isn't it? Yeah. And I know some people, they wouldn't identify themselves as disabled because they see themselves as more than able, and just that word and what comes with it is just like a lot of backstory, isn't it? So it's just they don't themselves like that. Like I personally, I would class myself as disabled, but I wouldn't call myself that because I feel like I'm more than abled.
Yeah, I mean, on a political level, I know this gets a bit technical, but when I used to work in disability rights, we're disabled by barriers of society. So the word that's what disabled in the UK means, is not disabled by a health condition or whatever, but it's by the barriers. So if the world gets rid of those barriers, we're not disabled, we're abled. And so that's quite cool, but it's quite, you have to go into quite a thought process, whereas most people just hear the word disabled and it's, oh, like not abled, you know, it's quite subliminal, but it's quite negative, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely,
yeah, cool. So then we touched on that enough. The other thing I was going to ask you was about models of diversity. Obviously, you mentioned it a couple of times, but can you just describe a bit more who they are and what they do, and just generally why you love them so much?
So models of diversity. So at the start of the year, they had a search for an ambassador, and obviously just up and coming on like Instagram, and obviously finding, you know, the reason for all of it. I applied and, you know, met Angel and Marie, who are absolutely amazing. So Models of Diversity are a charity they're just literally fighting for greater diversity in the fashion and media industries, and it's just as simple as that. It's just, you know, just having normal people, that's all they're fighting for, just to have more role models, you know, ethnic origin, all ages, all sizes, disabilities, the whole world is changing, and then they're just obviously almost going with it, but they're fighting. They're, you know, they're a charity, they do so much on Instagram, which is amazing. They have so many interviews, they do so much as a charity. I just want to obviously, you know, stand behind them as an ambassador, and, you know, just follow them, and they'll do amazing stuff. I know it. I'm sure of it. It's just, you know, this whole everything that's happening, we're all fighting for it, but, you know, something that everyone should feel so you know, so powerful, and she'll follow it, is because it's just normal people. Next generation especially they should have more role models, people look up to them, you know, in the fashion industry, people more like yourself, you know. It's just we're all fighting, that's all it is. They're just a charity, they're absolutely incredible, what they do, what they've done. I just can't wait to see where they go, and obviously, hopefully, you know, go with them as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's great. I did interview Angel years ago. I think it was for Disability Horizons, on a video. So there is a video out there somewhere of Angel talking a bit more about it. But yeah, I agree. Like, it is amazing work that they're doing. And I suppose, like, when I was asking you what it's like within the industry towards difference and disability and diversity, like, from your opinion, where did you think the resistance is? Obviously, Models of Diversity and you and others are fighting, as you say, to get that representation. So where do you think the blockage comes from?
I'm not sure. I think that's just because there's such a stereotype around, you know, fashion industries, media industries. It's been built up over the years that that's what it's supposed to be. That people obviously blocked out the rest of the world. But I think obviously with the rise, and it's, brands have to be seen now having disabled people, it's almost upsetting really, because brands have to be seen, showing disabled people. They don't, I think things that they should be seen doing it. They don't choose to. They should be seen doing it because that's obviously how things are happening. But I just think that the blockage is just a stereotype around the fashion media industries. And you're right, like what you said before, the word perfection. But what is perfection? And I just think it's just a common stereotype that's been built over the years, that this is how people should be, this is how people should look, this is how people, that what size they should be, this is how tall people should be. If you want to be a model, you've got to be this high. It's just it's crazy that that's what's happened over the years. And that's the type of model, or or like fashion or media that you should be. It's not diverse at all, and that's what obviously we want to change. It's because not everyone's like that,
Right.
And even if you are, you're like that, to me, you're not, you're perfect, but everyone's perfect. Everyone's perfect in their own way. Everyone's different. Nobody is the same. So yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. I was thinking about how kind of brands have the power to make the change and make the decision, but I suppose in a way brands are they're going to do what consumers want. And so in a way it's like we need to change culture and sort of get everyday people to speak out, because I think like everyone would agree that diversity is good, but it's sort of like the more awareness there is and the more mainstream society talk about it, I think the brands will move, because at the end of the day they want to keep their customers happy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think as a model nowadays, you need to be somewhat inspirational and a role model of just how things are, especially with the media and stuff. But no, definitely, I think as a person in the fashion and media industries, you need to be inspirational and a role model for the younger generations.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a few comments coming in. We've got Ruth Ann on YouTube just saying hey. So hey to Ruth Ann. And Sarah on Facebook. I wrote about how this issue impacted on my recovery from an eating disorder. So interesting work Sarah's done in that area. Feel free to share any link if you've got it there, Sarah. And then Chris is saying, I occasionally get Vogue. Don't judge me, Martin. It is clearly the world's leading fashion magazine. I do get the impression they're opening their doors a bit wider to inclusion and diversity. Have MOD noticed a change through their campaigning in the fashion press? I know you work with MOD, but not for OD. Is that right, Gemma?
Yeah, so as an ambassador, obviously.
As ambassador, yeah. Cool. But yeah, I mean, obviously from your knowledge and experience, have you noticed a change through the campaigning in the fashion press? Any changes?
Like I said, like before, I think it's just that now brands have to be seen doing it, rather than would doing it. But at the moment, like I said, the world is changing. There's online brands that are keeping in stretch marks and not photoshopping, which is great. And it's just body positive, which is amazing.
Yeah, I think in a way, like when we used to have like the magazines and the media side of fashion, it was a few publications that everyone hung on its every word. Whereas I think for me, why I love social media and influencer marketing is that you've got lots of different voices. Like you say, everyone is unique and valuable in their own way. And so, of course, you still get trends and trend setters, but they're more people rather than like a publication or a big corporate magazine. And I think that helps to change things as well.
No, definitely. Yeah. I've always said anyway, as a designer, social media is huge. You've literally got the world in your hands. It's just what you do with it. And again, as a designer, like I know how easy it is to Photoshop things. I will be like, oh, that's been Photoshopped or whatever. And when I see things that have been Photoshopped, I'm just like, amazing. Like, you don't need to. You don't need to at all. This is a real person.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Really incredible.
And Chris also said activism was the subject of Vogue this month. with Alice Wong, among others, getting plenty of coverage. Great to see. Did you see that, Gemma, with Vogue?
I haven't seen that. No, yeah, I'll have a look when we finish this the call. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look at that. Yeah,
I think I saw it on my Facebook feed. It was like a front cover. Alice is an American lady in a wheelchair user, and it looked like front cover. I don't know exactly whether it was or whether it was like a digital sort of like an online initiative. But either way, it was really cool that it was just representing disabled people.
Yeah, my fellow ambassador actually, Monique, has just done a Grazia magazine with Kelly Knox. I think it's Marlo Van Ryn. I don't want to hold me to that, but it's a professional sprinter. Yeah. Lower legs, Nancy Harris, and Mary Russell as well, which is incredible. You should have a look at it. It's the Grazia magazine, and yeah, it's the title is "We Deserve to Be Part of Fashion" article, which is amazing. So
yeah, it's cool.
Well. So yeah, diversity just in that front cover, which is insane. So
yeah, brilliant. All right, and so yeah, I mean, like, kind of, I always ask my guests. It's a weird 2020 to say the least. So have you, on a personal level, or is this sort of general community of people trying to make change? Has it been harder? Has it been more opportunities? Like, how has it been this year, really, with all the changes?
Well, this year's been insane, like literally insane. So I've only really been doing it from the start of the year, ever since lockdown happened. So obviously nothing's really happened yet, like with the modelling wise, but having the time, I think the most, if anything, having the time to do stuff, which is absolutely insane. Like not being able to do your normal Monday, Friday, 9 till 5. It's almost like a blessing and a curse, because I've obviously been able to do something that I've always wanted to do. Have the time to obviously go out and take pictures, but the industry always adapts to it. Like there's been FaceTime photo shoots, Zoom photo shoots.
Wow.
I think people had the time as well in their own, sitting down, not being able to leave the house, to create businesses, create new modelling agencies. I think I've obviously seen on my Instagram and obviously my social medias, there's a lot more people that have obviously decided, there's not enough diversity, let's do open a modelling agency. A lot more people that on my Instagram that I've seen, just being able to be a bit more creative with their pictures and just posting everyday life, blogging. I think everyone just I think everyone's just trying to make use of their time and just trying to do what they possibly can.
Yeah, it's like this. I've been doing this daily live stream with different guests, such as yourself, since about April, and I've missed the odd day for, like, if I had another work client meeting, I couldn't move or whatever. But basically every weekday at noon, and normally I'd have been going off to meetings in London and speaking at conferences. I just couldn't have done this. So as you say, there's like more opportunity to make more content because we're not as busy off on trains and planes everywhere.
Exactly. I think you with the time, you just think to yourself, what have I always wanted to do, and now I've got the time to do it. And I'm pretty sure everyone's in that situation, whether it's doing stuff to the house, or starting up a business, or being able to just take pictures or whatever. It's just been a crazy year, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's true. And so with Instagram, I'm interested as a fellow sort of social media person, like, how strategized and planned are you with types of content, number of content, like ways to grow your audience, and how much has it just been like on the fly and just kind of learn as you go?
To be honest, it's probably been learn as I go. It's always something that like I've always wanted to do it, but I always I started posting pictures and stuff, but I've never really been one to post pictures of myself anyway. Like I've only really got into this, but obviously, like I said before, my best friend's a photographer, so it's very handy. But it's
that helps.
Take a picture and think, let's put it up and write something. But we're starting to get more of a flow of things. I think we want, I want on my Instagram, not obviously I know what the purpose is, but to have more purpose. I want to, have more, lots of things on it. Lots of things, not just, pictures of my face, modeling. I want, a lot of things on there to support models of diversity as well. So at the moment, I'm hoping to plan a lot of things. As a designer, like I said, like there's a lot of artwork that I've got that I want to go up as well. I'm hoping to do something as well, which I've got in the talk with my friend, something fashion related. But it's just like your own little projects that you do that you want to, that you want to pursue while you've got the time before things, go back to normal. But no, before it was just, we'll just post something up, and now we're starting to strategize and, have a bit more, purpose, like why are we doing this? What audience do we want to get, So yeah, definitely hoping to grow it, more, just get more, hopefully more of a following. But I've already met so many amazing people through there, which has been insane. I didn't even realize there were so many people. It sounds absolutely really stupid to say, but I didn't realize there were so many people out there that are like myself, or one arm, different shaped, form, sizes. It's amazing what I've seen. So yeah, definitely it's been incredible so far from what I've seen. So who knows where this is going to take me.
Yeah. And are you, because you obviously mentioned Instagram a few times, do you publish on any other on other channels rather, and like have you considered TikTok at any point in the minute?
I did think that. I see a lot of TikToks of girls like dancing and stuff with their arms, which is great. But no, I haven't really thought about that yet. I think that's probably the next step. My friend has been like, yeah, you should definitely do it. But I don't know if I'm much of a dancer. I don't want to embarrass myself, but I'll give it a go.
It's not only the dancing. Like, there are people, I think the important thing is to still be you and carry the message you have on Instagram, and then you can make it a bit TikTok native with some of the trending music and the trending like hashtags. But I think like equally stick to what your message is, and I think you'd still find an audience there as well.
Definitely something I should think about when I've got more a strategic plan. Then I'll definitely probably see me on TikTok next.
Cool. And well, what's the big kind of ambition, I was going to say, but just generally, like in 5-10 years, what would be your perfect day?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I would just love to. I'd love to obviously be out there and be, be a model and, change the world. But even if it was just inspiring people and being like, I've seen that Gemma girl and or whatever. But even just having like, I wouldn't even know, to be honest. I just want to make a difference.
That was a big question. That was a bit unfair of me.
I'm not really sure. I think that I'd just like to see a change so that, in the future, like even in the last, I don't know, when my mum's messaged me, I already feel like I've done so much, because like even my boyfriend was saying that you just changed that one person's life, that if that makes sense, even if it's just one person, you've done something. And that, to be honest, that's more than enough for me, just to say that, I've seen some mum, there's reassurance there, I've talked about having a disability and what it's like growing up and stuff, and to watch out for this or whatever. But I think that's more than enough for me. Obviously, I'd like to go other places, but that for me, that's enough. Just the one person. So,
no, good on that. That's good. I think because having it about, even if you help one person, you get that satisfaction and it makes a difference in the world, and like that's the sort of thing you can control. Whereas like being on some big catwalk at some mega fashion show, I'm sure there's a part of you like it would obviously be awesome, but it's hard to control whether that happens or not. Yeah,
exactly. And that's just a one-off. That's just a walk on a catwalk or whatever, which would be absolutely insane and a personal achievement. But the whole this, and same for like models of diversity, is to make a difference. It's not just the one person, even though it could be. It's everybody coming together, and that's how it's gonna change.
Yeah, it feels like you're just doing exactly the right thing of raising awareness of the issue, making the change, getting yourself out there. I think partly why I asked such a lofty questions, you have very interesting diversity of skills, because you've talked about the design side, the modeling, like making a change in an industry. Like, I think it'd be interesting how it all plays out, because I could see you going down a few different roads.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I've come to that point now. I thought, what is the purpose? What am I doing? Could I use this skill, put it into there, in there? So yeah, hopefully it will take me on a good path, but who knows where it will take me.
I'm sure it will. All paths are good, right? Wherever path is always good.
Exactly.
Cool. So is there anything else that you wanted to tell the viewers while we're on, and anything, any news? Or obviously I'm going to ask you how people can follow you at the end, but any other talking points you wanted to mention?
Not at all. I think that we've covered everything. Maybe just to check out Models Diversity Instagram, you know, see what they're doing. Definitely give them a follow, because, you know, we're in the fight to, you know, change the world, create diversity in the fashion and media industries, because it will have a huge impact on the world. So definitely check them out.
And on a really personal, selfish level, on Purple Goat, are you like interested when brands are doing sort of marketing, advertising campaigns around disability? Is that something you'd be open to working on as well?
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So,
I'll let the team know that you're available to consider options. Cool.
100%.
Yeah, because we're I mean, you know, what Models of Diversity does in fashion, we're still doing a lot of awareness and education, but ultimately we're running marketing campaigns for brands that are by disabled people for disabled people. So
Yeah.
all of our media spend is on social media influencers. So we have like a whole load of people that have a creative brief, but there's a lot of freedom within it just to help talk about whatever the brand or the product is. So it's quite interesting how that's blowing up at the moment. So we need as many disabled influencers as possible.
100%. Get me on board, definitely.
Sounds good. All right, and so how can people follow you? What are you on Instagram? What's your handle?
Just on Instagram, it's just Gemma Adby, Gemma with a G, and then Adby, ADBY. That's just Instagram to begin with, and, you know, maybe you see me on TikTok soon.
Coming soon.
Have a look. Obviously, you know, drop me a message if you want to know any questions, or see anything on there at all, or, you know, anything that I could be doing, constructive criticism. But yeah, it's just
constructive. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's really nice to, as I say, sometimes the people that come on the show I've met for like 10 years and know them very well, but this was one of those we've not spoken before. So it was really nice to just get to know you and learn more about all the great work that you're doing, and best of luck with the future with it all.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for having me on.
Pleasure. All right. Well, everyone watching, thanks for the comments. Thanks for your time as well watching us today. If you're watching on the replay, feel free to ask questions. We'll keep an eye on it the next sort of 24, 48 hours. And just make sure you follow Gemma and lend your support to inclusive fashion. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.